As someone at the beginning of my consultant career in anaesthesia, in the present tense, for me to find that a fulfilling and sustainable career means working amongst supportive department colleagues who can offer me the guidance, mentorship, and even a degree of ongoing training to feel comfortable in my role. Because I'm newly on the specialist register, and while I feel comfortable and confident in the skills and experience that got me here, I'm still very aware that I'm not the finished article, and I look forward to feeling even more comfortable and confident in this role 5, 10, 20 years from now. Fortunately, I found myself working in a department that is exactly that supportive. And not only have I been supported by my anaesthetic peers, but I've also had a lot of welcome support from surgical colleagues, ODPs, and the theatre nursing team. And I don't think any job can be sustainable or fulfilling without feeling that you are a welcome member of a wider and well-functioning and well-integrated team. I've become a consultant at probably the most turbulent period in the NHS's history since it was founded. And I think for any of us to be able to envisage a sustainable and fulfilling career beyond the current crisis requires us to feel that we're under sort of sensitive, effective clinical leadership. We need to feel that those in charge understand what it is they're asking of us in the short term, and listen to and respond to the needs of clinicians on the ground, both in terms of what we think we need professionally and personally to be able to navigate the current crisis and to envisage our careers beyond it. And I think we need to feel and see this leadership at both a local and at a national level. To picture a career in anaesthesia as sustainable and fulfilling in the longer term, I need to be able to look ahead of me and see how my more senior colleagues are treated. I want to know that as I get older and more experienced, I'll be treated fairly and equitably, that the clinical skills of a consultant with sometimes decades worth of experience are appropriately valued and utilised effectively, while fair consideration is given to the ways in which a job in anaesthesia becomes more challenging physiologically and psychologically as each of us gets older and goes through different changes in our lives. I also need to be able to look over my shoulder and see that there are sufficient numbers of anaesthetists in training coming through the system, not just to fill the existing consultant rota gaps that we know exist, but also to better expand the consultant workforce and to be able to better meet the health needs of a UK population which is growing in both size and complexity. I think more important than just the numbers in training roles is being able to see that they themselves feel valued and that they're enjoying their roles as trainees in anaesthesia, and they've got the motivation to see that journey through to their CCT date. Finally, I don't think any anaesthetist can envisage a sustainable or fulfilling career unless everyone in the healthcare environment can see that around them too. And I think that means making the entire workforce feel valued. And certainly an important part of that is the financial remuneration that we get for jobs that frankly I don't think you can put a monetary price on, but that we are all helped to picture what this job that we do together means for the patients that are ultimately the reason we all show up at work and put a pair of scrubs on in the morning.
For a young doctor, a sustainable and fulfilling career is all about job security. But then as you develop and grow into your role, you realize there's much more to it than just merely putting your skills and experience to good use. You want to work for an employer who values health and well-being of its staff, a department which enables team working and promotes work-life balance, which in turn energizes you and helps build enduring relationships with colleagues. Now, having spent over 3 decades in my specialty, I can look back with some pride at my achievements and say with some conviction that I've enjoyed all those privileges and more. However, none of this would have been possible without the unwavering support of my family, who have been very forgiving despite my missing several school and family engagements. I have colleagues to thank for who continue to give me the freedom to do what I've always wanted to do, and crucially, stand in for me when I'm away on non-clinical or external commitments. Now, circumstances couldn't be more different when I began my career in anaesthesia, to where I find myself today. We were a much smaller specialty when I started, which perhaps reflected the workload at that time. Although our workforce numbers have grown significantly in the last decade or so, it still lags well behind the exponential increase in the workload. The workforce gaps have resulted in additional pressure on our specialty with an adverse impact on morale and well-being of anaesthetists. And the ongoing pandemic has further exacerbated the already bad situation and added to the demands of a stretched and beleaguered workforce. Now, at a time in my career where I might have expected to wind down and let younger colleagues take the center stage, I find myself working as hard as ever at the coalface. Now, this is despite the well-acknowledged decline in cognitive and physical abilities as one ages. This is further compounded by irksome issues such as retire and return contracts, which are applied variably across trusts and within trusts too. And not to mention the unwelcome burden of pension taxation. All these only serve to distract us from our primary focus, which is serving our patients well. But all is not lost. As individuals and as a specialty, we must come together and respond rationally to mitigate against some of these pressures. Take time to be with family and friends. Ensure health and work-life balance is not ignored. Work with colleagues towards shared goals. And don't forget to remain part of organizations that have anaesthetist interests as their primary objective. Because collectively, we are a stronger specialty as we work towards a more sustainable and a fulfilling career in anesthesia